Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. As you can see, it's going to be a spectacular Sydney morning with clear skies, hardly any breeze, and we'll have a ship coming in to dock up at the International Passenger Terminal. And I can just see its nose just pointing just past the Opera House. So let's just walk down a little bit further to get a better vantage point. You'll also notice that we have a magnificent full moon still in the sky there, and it's setting for today, and it will rise again tonight at about 8 o'clock. I had the immense pleasure last night of being down at Bondi with my sister-in-law Elpida. We'd gone to visit the Sculptures by the Sea exhibition, where there are, I think, about 80 or 83, Elpida was saying, installations in place from artists all over the world. In fact, one of the artists who has an installation there called Keep Walking down there at Tamarama Beach is from Greece. And not only is she from Greece, but she's family friends with one of Elpida's dearest friends. So it's a small world. As we know, there are only 6 degrees of separation, and it was spectacular to be down there. But to see the moon, the full moon, the orange glow of the full moon being born and rising from the Pacific Ocean is just mesmerizing. And I've only just realized how rare it is, because I've been down to Bondi on a number of occasions where I leave work and I go down to Bondi specifically to see the full moon rise out of the ocean. But on most occasions that I've been down there, I've been disappointed because there's been a cloud, or it's been raining, or the weather conditions just haven't been ideal enough to be able to get that magical, beautiful, full experience. But yesterday, it was absolutely wonderful. I couldn't have hoped for a better way to cap off the evening. Having visited the Sculptures by the Sea, done the coast walk, and then having the moonrise. So what I want to do today is I want to continue along my way and add another video to the series that I'm putting together, the 365-day challenge that I've given myself to present all that I've learned from Tony Robbins over the years. And one of the key messages that come from Tony Robbins is that, like it or not, we are all influencers in a big way. We are big influencers, and there is a ripple effect with what we do. Even though we don't think that we're influencers, we are influencing those around us in a positive or a negative way. So the choice is ours in terms of what sort of influence we're going to be, and to understand that our children, look up to us for guidance, for leadership, even though they don't tell us. They're observing all that we do, and we are impacting them in every way that with what we do, and also with everything that we say. So we need to be mindful of the fact that we are all influencers, even before the time of social media. People have always been influencers, so it's not just the platform that makes us influencers, it's just the way humans are, given that we're social in nature, and that we do springboard off each other. We do depend on each other for guidance and leadership. So what Anthony Robbins says is that we are the disease. It's not only that we carry the disease, but we also pass it on to others around us. We are a spreader because we are really, really infectious with what we do. And we need to understand that. But the other important thing that Anthony Robbins harps upon that a lot of people don't realise is that there are different weightings and different stackings of the diseases that we are infected with and how we pass them on. And interestingly enough, a person who is negative sadly has much more influence over themselves and over others than what a positive person is. This is important to understand and to appreciate. And once again, let's just say it again. Negative emotions have a greater influence on the people around them than what do positive emotions. So the call to action from Anthony Robbins is to be a detective of your state, of your emotions, of your vocabulary, of what you're doing, because it's having a significant impact on not only yourself but the others around you. So let's just look at it a little bit deeper and to understand that in our language, I think Anthony Robbins mentioned that there are 800 words that cover emotion, of which 80% are negative. We focus more on negative emotions and on not feeling 100% than what we do on positive emotions. And what Anthony Robbins also says is that there are different weightings to the influence that we have. So when we say different weightings, what we're saying here is that a negative influence, a negative feeling, has a much higher weighting than what a positive feeling has. And I think, just as a rule of thumb, scientists, psychologists have been able to try and give a sort of rule of thumb here, and to say for every one negative thing that you do, you need to do 10 positive things in order to neutralize it. So having this knowledge at our fingertips, we can use it to change the way we behave and to change the ripple effect that we have, so that it can be used in a positive way as opposed to a negative way. Remembering that when you say something negative to your child, you need to follow up with 10 or many more positive things in order to neutralize what you've said. So we create and we deliver a lot of disturbance, distraction and destruction to the people around us by being negative, by being down, by being depressed, because your depression or your anxiety is infectious, more so than what your joy and happiness is. I just did a pregnant pause there just to allow it to sink in, because it is a very, very important thing to understand that we are impacting ourselves and others by the way we behave, by the way we talk, by the language, the vocabulary we choose to use, and by changing those things, by changing your state, by changing the way you are, by changing the way you think, by changing the words you use, by changing the energy, can have a significant impact on you and others around you. But it needs to be consistent. It needs to be sustainable. You can't just do it once and think that you've solved the challenges that you and everybody around you faces. We need to be consistent beacons of hope. Just like the moon up there is bright and beautiful, just like the sun is bright and beautiful, we need to be consistently bright, beautiful and positive in an empowering way, not in a Pollyanna way, but in a way that is realistic and enables us to function at the best way we possibly can. So Anthony Robbins says that we are all like fish in water, and you don't see the water because you breathe it, you swim in it, and you need it. And sometimes we are toxic because we live in a toxic environment. The toxicity lives in our head. And Anthony Robbins uses a beautiful metaphor where he says that we can only give what we have inside. So we can influence what we've got inside. But he says that if you squeeze an orange juice comes out. If you squeeze a lemon juice comes out. If you squeeze a human, what is inside predominantly will come out. So the question we have to ask ourselves is that under duress, under pressure, when life squeezes us, what's going to come out of you? What's going to come out of me? And I guess the beautiful message or the hope that we have for each other is that when we are squeezed by life, or when we squeeze ourselves, that love comes out, and not bitterness, not aggression, not hate, but love. The ability to give to somebody else that what they haven't got in their own lives, to become the safe harbour for them, to allow them to dock up, to feel comfortable, to feel safe, and to be able to then express their beauty. Because as we learn in the scriptures, we need to love one another. We need to love our neighbour as we love ourselves. And the clue there, the massive clue there, is we need to love ourselves first. And if you don't love yourself, if you don't invest in yourself and create a repository of love, then your cup can't overfill it, and you'll spend your life just trying to gain significance, gain certainty, and just to try and fill up your cup, which is empty, where you're dry. So by having love, by generating love in yourself, then you're able to pass it on to others around you and to be generous with what you've got. So Anthony Robbins, of course, goes on to talk about the wonderful aspects of psychology, and to say that science informs us that a lot of the things that we do and think about are limiting in their nature. And what we need to do is to examine the many stories that we have going in or going over and over in our lives, that ruminate, that continue to recur over and over again. The stories about our childhood, the stories about our capabilities, the stories about our lovability, the stories of the accidents that have happened in our lives. And he says that we need to be a detective of these stories. We need to listen to what we're saying to ourselves over and over again, and to get involved with those stories and to swap them out if they're not empowering or if they're not serving us to the best of their ability. Because the limiting stories that we may have are based on the limiting beliefs that we may have in our lives, knowing very well that our belief system is either created by us, by taking in the slithers of reality over our lifetime, the things that we focus on, the things that we look at, the things that we obsess over, or we can inherit a lot of those beliefs through our culture, through our religion, and through our environment, by the people that we hang out with, our family, our friends, our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts, our cousins, our schoolmates, our workmates, the media, the shows that we watch, the YouTube channels that we tap into and invest in. All of those things are shaping our beliefs in a positive or a negative way. And as we know, once somebody goes down a rabbit hole, they'll just keep on finding other rabbit holes and other dark passages, and you'll never ever see the light of day ever again. So we need to stay guard, and Anthony Robbins is very big on this. We need to stand guard at our mind, at the doorway of our mind, and be very, very careful with what we allow in to our minds and into our hearts. By all means, have an open heart, is Anthony Robbins' call, but by the same token, we need to have a fairly closed mind. We need to be open-minded, but in a guarded way. Because guess what? If you're open-minded without being on guard, what will happen is that your mind will end up becoming the garbage tip, the rubbish tip for everybody else's garbage. So that's an important thing, because sooner or later we become the weighted average of the half dozen people we spend most time with, or the half dozen TV shows that we watch, or the half dozen YouTube channels, or the things that we ruminate, or the stories that we keep on reminding ourselves about. All of those things, the things that we spend most time around, the proximity that we have to these things and people and places, will influence us in a significant way, be it positive or negative. You be the judge of your life, whether or not the people you're hanging out with, the TV shows that you're watching, the things that you obsess over, the things you focus on are going to make you a better person or a bitter person. Once again, it's up to us to investigate and to look into these things and to make sure that what we're doing is going to empower us. I've spoken to a lot of conspiracy theorists, and I asked them the same question. How is this conspiracy theory? How is this belief that you harbour? How is this belief that you pass on to other people on social media going to help you? And how is it going to help them? Is it going to empower you, or is it going to make you bitter? Is it going to give you trust in the world and allow you to take action, or is it going to cause you to procrastinate and do absolutely bloody nothing? So we need to be detectives and to be on guard and to have journals so that we know what affects us, how it affects us, and to make sure we do more of the good things that make us better, that empower us, make us stronger, and to do less of the things that take away from our lives. Because at the end of the day, Each and every one of us has a brand. We are a brand of our own making, or in some cases of other people's making. A brand that is made up as a figment of some people's imagination from a media perspective. A lot of the so-called celebrities are, fake brands. They are just simply a figment of marketing people's imagination, where they take certain aspects and just talk them up, make them sound bigger and better than what they actually are. And it's only when you meet these people in person that you realise that they're nothing like the media persona that they have, nothing like the brand that surrounds them. And this is where Anthony Robbins invites people to own their own lives, to own their space, to live both humbly and with boldness, because God wants each and every person to live their calling. He wants every person to experience creation in all its glory. He wants every person to express and to experience the beauty of what we have around us in terms of our family, our friends, our relationships, and to be partners in His plan to work with God, to accept God's will, and to use your own gifts, to use the God's given gifts that you've been able to harness, to leverage, to shape, to colour, and to use those to the best of your ability, not for your own personal satisfaction all the time, but to invest and to create an asset, to be able to use those gifts to make this world a better place, to work those gifts, to sweat those gifts, so that not only you have a good life, but you give to others, because the purpose of life is to give, not to take. Of course, initially in our lives, we need to invest in ourselves to become the best possible version we can become of ourselves. But the only reason why we need to be selfish in those early years and to invest and to create is so that we can then share with our family, our friends, our community, and all of those people who are in need. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of all that I've ever learned from the big man, Anthony Robbins. I will continue along my merry way, getting up every day and finding an element, finding a message of empowerment and using it in conjunction with this backdrop, this wonderful, beautiful city of Sydney, and sharing it with all my friends and family, and hopefully creating a legacy for the big man Anthony Robbins, so that there can be a program where people can listen to something every single day of the year and to help them grow, develop, and become the best version of who they are meant to be. Take care. Have a great week. It's Monday today, so it's the beginning of the working week, and I hope that everybody can make the most, because at the end of the day, all we have is now. All we have is the present moment. Nobody's been to the future, and we can't rely on the past, because if we spend too much time standing and living our past, we'll end up becoming depressed, depending on the stories that we keep on thinking about and bringing back into our lives. We can't change the past. We can't live the past anymore. Yes, we may have some good memories, we may have some terrible memories, but we need to create new memories And those new memories commence right here, right now, with you, by taking charge of this eternal now. This moment is yours. So wherever you are, make the most of it. It's as simple as that. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to have the best output? What can I do right now to make this moment the best for me and those around me, so that we have a dual benefit. We benefit and other people benefit at the same time. It's not about us, it's about others. But the more you give, according to the big man, the more you get. And the key to life is to find fulfillment, to be content with your life. Tony Robbins says that he socializes with billionaires, with lots and lots of billionaires. He knows lots of very, very successful people who are famous for whatever they're famous for. And he says that the rarest thing in the world is to be happy and content with what you got. And if you're there right now, then you're more than a billionaire. You've got more than the greatest billionaires in the world. So you can't get a better and more profound message than that. Find in your life, find in this moment, in your moment, something to be grateful for, something to be happy about, rather than to be moaning and to be complaining and to be unhappy and distracted continually. Find it, enjoy it, and make the most of it, because that's all we really have. Take care, Yassas. God bless us all. Ketaleme. Bye for now.